Yo hago siempre lo que quiero y mi palabra es la ley. Didn't know I had it in me. Congratulations, you made it this far. Having your emergency fund, you are now ready for step number 2. But first, before we get started on step number 2, we'd like to thank our sponsors, and our sponsors today are the number 0 and the letter D. Really, it's more symbolic as in zero debt. Zero debt is step number 2. So, what's the big deal with having zero debt? Well, imagine you're in the race to freedom, okay? Everyone's at the starting line, and everyone's ready to go. Mark, set, go. Everyone takes off, except for this car, which is way down by this string and this rock, and in this example, represents debt. Now, just a little bit of advice. If you have no debt, please don't start now. And if you have a little bit of debt, please stop adding on. All right, so you're probably asking yourself, how could debt be slowing me down? And in order to aid in explaining why or how debt slows you down, I'm going to use the visual image of a milkshake. Now, I know that is a weird analogy to make on how or why a milkshake would be tied to your debt or finances, but stick with me. I promise there will be a payoff at the end. So let's pretend that this glass is your bank account. All right, just stick with me. And average household income is $60,000. Take home pay is about $44,000 a year. Divided by 12 months, $3,700 a month. That brings your milkshake, your checking account, right around here. The average home mortgage is about $1,500. The mortgage company came in.
I drink your milkshake.
They sucked out of your milkshake their $1,500. Average Americans tend to have about $6,000 worth of credit card notes, and they pay roughly about $1,140.
I drink your milkshake.
Per month. So the average car note is about $500 per month, so you're down to about $1,000. Student loans amount to about $350, so $351 per month in student loans. By the way, this was your car note. So that leaves you with $209 per month is what you're left with. Out of that household income of $60,000 per year, you're left with $209. Where did the money go?
My straw reaches across the room and starts to drink your milkshake. I drink your milkshake. I drink it up. Don't bully me, Daniel.
I get it, it's a little dramatic, but I think it's a fair point to make the illustration that the money is going to somebody else. That money that should be yours, which is your fun money to be able to go on vacation, to be able to pay for your kids' education, to be able to pay for your retirement. All these things that should be yours, guess what? That money is going toward their retirement, toward their second house, toward their kids' child education. When your eyes deep in debt, that money that you're working so hard for is actually going to somebody else. And so here's the thing, whenever you pay off debt, it's almost like a pay increase, because now that money that was going to somebody else is actually coming back to you, that you can use for your needs, like your vacation, your fun money, your money to be able to go out, your money to be able to retire, your money to be able to do cool stuff, to be able to invest in your future, be able to invest in other sources of income. This is your money. It's just that you've been giving it to somebody else. That dude who's kind of a jerk. You know what? And here's another thing, and should something happen to you, you just don't have a lot of breathing room with $209 per month. Let's say your company goes through a downsizing, that you get laid off, your spouse gets laid off. I don't know, stuff happens. Someone gets sick in the family, I don't know. But the point is that when you have that little bit of breathing room, you don't have a lot of wiggle room for things to go wrong. And guess what? life comes at you and it will mess up whatever plans you think you're gonna have. Let's talk about the big culprits that weigh you down with debt. The biggest one being probably your mortgage. But here's the thing, why I don't have beef with it, or as much of a beef with it, assuming that it's your primary residence, is that it's one of the few things you can buy that will actually increase in value over time. Whereas other stuff that you more likely buy with credit go down in value. Cars. Yes, you need a car to go to work, I get it. You need a reliable car to go to work, you pick up the kids, that kind of stuff, I totally get it, I'm with you on that. But just because you need to doesn't mean that you have to spend $60,000 on a car that is reliable. You can get a perfectly reliable vehicle in about the $10,000 range. They're not gonna be sexy, no, but that are reliable, that require very little maintenance, that break down rarely. Well, what's messed up about these things and about a car specifically is that when you spend on a car is something that you own, yes, and it's an asset, but it's an asset that goes down in value over time. So cheapest car available with the lowest amount of maintenance required, because it's a thing that's gonna go down in value no matter what you do. Loans for colleges, I get it. Here's what I say, college, great. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for undergrad, not so great. I value education, I think it's important. But you also have to think about ROI, the return on investment. If you're spending $150,000 for a degree in arts, which by the way, I'm guilty of, okay? I spent close to $100,000 when I started to go in for acting, but then I switched over to finance, and seeing what I paid for a finance degree relative to what I'm able to earn from the finance degree, guess what? Actually pretty decent investment. Yes, please go on, get educated. Do all the things that you need to do to invest yourself, but make sure that whatever you're investing, that your return is significantly much higher than what you're putting in. That may mean a state school, that may mean starting at a community college. That's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. Guess what? When was the last time you actually asked where they went to undergrad? Honestly, when was the last time? No, people rarely ever ask that, except for in a job interview when you're going up for a job. Can you acquire the skills and perform the job? Those are the things that you need to focus on when you're going to college. Lastly, credit cards. So here's the thing, when you're in college, when you're starting off, you're told this lie. Get a credit card so they can build up your credit. Even though in college, you may not be earning a whole heck of a lot. Follow the reasoning. Get a credit card to put yourself into debt, so that later on you can put yourself into more debt. I get it, you do want to get the best interest rate possible when you do get something that you really need, such as a house, or let's say if you had to finance a car. But the truth is, if you do this properly, I hope you never have to buy a car on credit. Again, people use credit cards very poorly, right? I mean, people use credit cards to take themselves out for dinner and that kind of stuff. So think about that. You remember when it said it's buying an asset that's appreciated with debt? Well, if you go out to eat, you've eaten dinner, that dinner is not going to be appreciating in value. If anything, it's going literally right down the toilet. So be sure to be able to use cash whenever you're going out to eat or doing those things that are your consumption, not using or not borrowing money to be able to do those things. It's enough for today. Remember, debt bad, because debt means that's money that's yours, that you're working hard for, that's going towards somebody else.
I drink your milkshake.
And stick with me for the next video so that we talk about if you do have debt and you need to pay it down, what is the most effective way to be able to pay that stuff down. Stick with me. Talk to you next video.
Wait till I get my money right. I had a dream I could buy my way to heaven. When I awoke, I spent that on the next